If you are not taking your gut seriously, this is your sign from the universe to start.
There's actually more bacteria in our gut than there are stars in the sky. We do have this universe inside of us.
We have 3 detox organs in our body. So one is the gut, second is the liver, and if those 2 aren't working well, then everything comes out on the skin. Welcome to Genestra Brands Gut Check, a 6-episode series where we teach you everything you need to know about understanding your gut health. In a world of health fads, quick fixes, and information overload, we want to simplify, educate, and empower Canadians about the vital role of gut health and overall wellness. In partnership with 2 renowned healthcare practitioners, Bisleen Attli, Naturopathic Doctor, Clinical Director, and TEDx Speaker, and Carley Nadine McConkey, Holistic Nutritionist, this series aims to dispel the myths and complexities surrounding gut health, offering reliable and scientifically backed information. Follow us on Instagram at Genestra Brands CA for more. Now let's dive in. Why is gut health not important? It literally it impacts everything in our body. It essentially serves as the hub. And when we look at gut health, it affects everything from our immune system to our brain health. There's the gut and brain axes, and they're connected together. Our gut is also the primary place where our nutrients are absorbed. So if your body's not absorbing the right nutrients, it's going to really wreak havoc on everything.
When it comes to the gut, this is one of the #1 places that I start and look. It all begins and ends in the gut. And there's so much research that is coming out on the importance of the gut. And I'm so excited that more folks are becoming aware of this. It's so important.
And something I always like to teach my patients is that you're actually more like bacteria than actual human.
I love that. There's a really great analogy I love as well, that we essentially have a universe inside of us because there's actually more bacteria in our gut than there are stars in the sky, which is quite beautiful. And I like to think of it like a garden, right? We want to be able to tend to it, and it's something that it's not like you fix it and it's done. It's something that we tend to lifelong.
There was this video I saw, it had over 3 million views, of this girl where she took 2 tablespoons of olive oil for a couple of months, and she literally had a picture of her before, during, and after. And before, she was like, she had no period, she was bloated, her mood was awful, and within a couple of months, because she took 2 tablespoons of olive oil, she had her period back, she wasn't bloated, her mental health was better. And I was like, you know, I love me some olive oil, but those are really, really big claims.
Absolutely.
You know, and I was like, I don't think olive oil is that great, where it can just change all of this stuff in a couple of months. And I think that we need to be so careful what we take in, because if we just rely on one single thing, it could really potentially set us in not a great spot, honestly.
I agree. And it's one of those things, holistically, we're all so unique and different. What's healthy for for one person's gut might not be for another.
Exactly.
So I think that that's sometimes, you know, there can be amazing things with information overload, like stuff like TikTok. It can be really great for people to share their experience. But on the other hand, you know, it's not a quick fix. And I think that that's where the trends can sometimes fall very short, is that it's looking to this quick fix. And what works for one person is going to work for everybody.
I remember a couple of months ago, one of my patients came to me and asked me about the viral carrot salad that went viral online on TikTok, about how it can regulate hormones and whatnot. So I get questions like that all the time, and like a part of me just like dies a little bit every single time, because I'm like, why are you listening to this stuff? Come to me. This is why you come see me. Yeah, and
I think, like we said too, with TikTok and social media, and you know, people are looking for kind of, there's a pill for every ill, right? Can't I just take this and supplement my way out of this? But like you mentioned as well, you can't supplement your way out of a lifestyle that got you into that. So I think we can get into this mindset as well of like go, 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 where we really need to assess, like, we need to look at everything holistically. What's your lifestyle like? Are you eating on the go? Are you, stagnant all day long? What's your environment like? What's your mindset like?
Totally. And the other thing to add to it too is that if you are someone who's been like, oh my God, that's so me, I'm looking for quick fixes all the time, honestly, it's not your fault. I really feel like our medical system and model that we live in right now, it sets you up to want a quick fix, right? You go to a doctor, you get a medication, and you're supposed to get better, right?
Very the allopathic way of looking at things.
Exactly. And now our world, and we're shifting to see that maybe we need to kind of dig a little bit deeper and look underneath and what's happening. And the other thing too is that, right, like our brain loves the easy route. Right? Our brain doesn't want us to do hard things. Our brain loves easy things. So when we hear about a supplement or, that 2 tablespoons of olive oil video I mentioned, it's just like your brain's just like, oh my God, this could be it, right?
And that would make
this is the miracle and things will be easy, and our brain loves that stuff. So it's not fully your fault if you want a quick fix, right?
And with that being said, as practitioners, there are many things that we can recommend to patients and clients that, can acutely help in situations like bloating and things like that. But with that being said, for long term, we want to look at the root cause, and we want to look upstream rather than just, trying to band-aid up and chasing symptoms.
So HMF stands for human microflora, and this is a line by Genestra, and it's so special because it actually contains human strains of probiotics. And so this means that when you actually take these probiotics, they just better adapt to your own gut flora because they're already naturally occurring in there. And what's really awesome about Genestra is that they are backed by evidence, and they have over 30 years of experience with these lines, which is why it's such a trustable brand.
I absolutely love Genestra because it's evidence-based, which is really important, and it's trusted from so many naturopaths and clinicians. I remember taking Genestra for the first time that I went to a naturopath. And so, it's always been a brand that I recommend to my clients depending on their situation, from women's support, vaginal support, to kids. It's something that I've always trusted because it's such a great company. I always make sure to talk about their poop as practitioners.
I love talking about
poop. We
poop.
talk about poop. It's just how it goes.
It's my favorite topic.
It's such an amazing way to be able to see what's going on in the gut. It might be uncomfortable at first for folks to talk about, but I would say any sort of stool that is, depending on the shape, size, color, frequency, it's a really great way for us to be able to see if we need to work on the gut or not. I think it's safe to say that almost everyone could use a little bit of gut support. We live in, especially if we're living in more a metropolitan, high stress environment.
Other ones I look at too, if anybody comes in with a lot of food intolerances, right? So they feel really sensitive to a lot of foods. Allergies or sensitivities in general, always looking at the gut because our gut is just so closely aligned with our immune system. So if someone has a lot of allergies or feels really sensitive to things in their environment, gut is almost always the first place that I look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I would say too, like hormonal support when it comes to women's health. We can't talk about hormone support or supporting your hormones without
100%.
Looking at the gut. Whether that be women that are experiencing endometriosis, whether that be women that are experiencing PCOS. So any condition that has perhaps high androgens or, hormonal issues, we always look at the gut.
Yeah, 100%. Weight changes as well was another one that I would say too. And it's anyone that has like really intense cravings. As soon as someone says sugar cravings, I'm like, hey, we gotta
look at the gut.
Let's look at the gut right now. Yeah, because sometimes that's not actually you craving it. It's the little bacteria in your gut that are screaming out for that sugar. And then even just like when we look at vaginal health, UTIs, all that stuff, people don't always understand, but UTIs are very closely aligned to gut health and the flora that's actually flourishing there.
Absolutely. And like you were saying too, like where we absorb our nutrients and things that we need is in the gut, right? And if we're not actually assimilating and breaking down and absorbing, then it doesn't matter if we're, eating all the amazing organic, smoothies and food and all of that. If we're not actually absorbing it, then we're not going to be our best selves.
And a big really telltale sign is I'll always ask my patients is like, how do you feel after you eat food? And that is like a clear telltale sign as to how your digestive tract is functioning. Because if you generally tend to feel tired after eating, slow and sluggish, we also have to look at the quality of food that you're eating because that's obviously gonna have a direct impact, but also if your gut is having a really difficult time absorbing the foods and all that stuff, you're actually gonna feel worse and more tired after you eat food. So this is a big one I look at, even just brain fog. If your gut flora isn't functioning the way that it should be, it's gonna be really difficult for you to think clearly. Because even when we look at your brain health, some of your really important neurotransmitters, hormones like dopamine, which is your reward hormone, GABA, your calming hormone, serotonin, your happiness hormone, so much of it comes from the gut.
And it takes so much energy to break down food as well, right? So like you were saying too, if you're fatigued after you're eating, you know, there's a lot of energy that's going into breaking food. So if there's some issues going on in the gut, that's definitely going to affect that.
The other issue is that we tend to eat all day long.
Exactly,
right? And that's like
constant
a whole other
grazing, and we'll definitely be getting into all of that.
Yeah, that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.